September 17, 1944, more than 350 R.A.F Sterlings, Halifaxes, Albemarles and Dakotas, with paratroops, Hamilcar, Horsa and Wacko gliders, flew to Holland as part of a great Allied air fleet, carrying more than 39,000 men, 11,000 of them to Arnhem. The Germans had flooded large areas of Holland so as to prevent the movement of our ground troops, but they had not bargained for this great airborne operation, Operation Market, which was to land our troops in front of the ground forces and capture and hold important strategic bridges at Arnhem, Nijmegen, Grave, and in the Eindhoven area. The film shows the flight of the aircraft to Arnhem and the dropping of paratroops and the landing of gliders in that area on the first day of Operation Market. The bridges at Nijmegen, Grave, and Eindhoven were held by the airborne forces until the ground troops arrived. But at Arnhem, after a magnificent fight, in the face of tremendous enemy pressure, our airborne forces were unable to hold on. Nevertheless, the operation as a whole was a great contribution to the Allied cause at that time. The same day, September 17, 765 aircraft of Bomber Command attacked enemy strong points northeast of Boulogne in support of the ground forces. The attack was carried out in 8 waves on 8 separate aiming points, and 3,000 tons of bombs were dropped. Roads, buildings, and trench systems were obliterated. September 20, 648 aircraft of Bomber Command attacked enemy strong points in the Calais area. The area was heavily blanketed by bombs, especially around the heavy gun batteries, which received direct hits. Minefields were partially detonated, and all roads in the area were blocked. On October 11, Lancaster's Bomber Command attacked gun positions at Flushing. The aircraft attacked in one wave in line astern. The target area of 16 bunkers was saturated with bombs, causing very severe damage to all the gun emplacements. Bombs also damaged sunken roads and accommodation in the target area. On October 14, over 1,000 aircraft of Bomber Command attacked 4 aiming points at Duisburg, including the Thyssen Steelworks, with the object of destroying dispersed intact areas of the town. Cloud obscured the target area when the bombers arrived, but over 4,700 tons of high explosive and incendiaries were dropped, including some 8,000-pounders. Great devastation was caused by this highly successful attack. On the night of October 14, Bomber Command Lancasters and Mosquitoes attacked the industrial town of Brunswick, a center of the aircraft industry. The target was marked from low level, and the rapid build-up of the attack can be clearly seen as the incendiaries burst throughout the built-up area, setting ablaze every part of the town. Tremendous destruction resulted from this attack, the old town completely leveled by fire and blast. Now as the attack develops, the pattern of the street stands out clearly, outlined by the raging fires. November 16, in support of the U.S. 9th Army, Bomber Command attacked the town of Düren to destroy buildings containing ammunition and troops and to block road and rail intersections. As a result of this highly successful attack, the town was denied the Germans as a military center. On the night of December 4, Bomber Command carried out a concentrated attack on the communications center of Heilbronn to destroy rail facilities and dispersed industries in the built-up area. Flares were dropped to light the target, and some 12,000-pound bombs were among those dropped. Very severe devastation resulted, with at least 9 industrial plants severely damaged. As in the attack on Brunswick, the rapid build-up of the raid can be clearly seen as incendiaries burst on the town and the fires take hold. January the 1st, 1945, and May the 8th of that year, Typhoons of the 2nd Tactical Air Force flew over 20,800 sorties in Western Europe against enemy troops, transport, gun positions and shipping, giving the closest support to our ground forces. Another powerful striking force in the 2nd Tactical Air Force were the Tempest squadrons, which between January the 1st and May the 8th flew over 7,500 sorties, attacking and destroying enemy trains, transport, headquarters and aircraft. March and April 1945, the Mitchells and Bostons of No. 2 Group 2nd Tactical Air Force were engaged in attacking rail centers in western Germany and the Ruhr, continuing their policy of rail interdiction. Villages forming enemy choke points were also systematically attacked. These targets had a direct bearing on the battles in progress at that time. Rail interdiction at Halter, rail interdiction at Dolmen, troop concentrations at Resfeld, enemy strong point at Heverdorf, the Mosquitoes of No. 2 Group 2nd Tactical Air Force were active by day and night, bombing and strafing all visible signs of movement, by road and rail as far east as Berlin. In addition, Gestapo headquarter buildings were the objects of two notable low-level pinpoint attacks. One on March 21 at Copenhagen, when the building was completely destroyed, and the second shown here at Odense on April 4, in which 6 Mosquitoes took part. Half the building is being completely destroyed, and the rest very severely damaged. Between January the 1st, 1945 and May the 8th of the same year, the Beaufighter and Mosquito squadrons of Coastal Command carried out over 5,500 sorties against enemy shipping. The majority of the attacks were against shipping in Norwegian waters, where the shipping routes along the coast take the place of roads and railways. These attacks by Coastal Command certainly played a major part in hamstringing the German communications in Norway in the last months of the war, and were undoubtedly one of the main reasons why the German garrison surrendered to the Allies without being able to strike a blow. February the 2nd, 1945, Lancaster's Bomber Command attacked the midget submarine pens at Putershafen, dropping 12,000-pound bombs. Bombing was carried out in clear weather from between 12,700 and 14,000 feet on this small target, and many direct hits were scored. February 23, a night attack was carried out by 362 Lancasters and 13 Mosquitoes on the important communications and industrial centre of Pforzheim in the Upper Rhineland. There was considerable fighter activity, but bombing was highly concentrated. An examination of this target has proved this was one of the most accurate attacks ever made by Bomber Command. On March 14, Lancaster's Bomber Command attacked the railway viaduct at Bielefeld, using the 22,000-pound bomb for the first time. The arrow will point to the spot where the bomb will strike. There is the spot. There is the crater, and there is the explosion. This viaduct was attacked as part of a plan for bottling up the German armies in the Ruhr. These pictures taken immediately after the attack show 6 spans destroyed and severe damage to the embankment leading to the viaduct. On March 16, the railway and industrial centre of Würzburg was the object of a night attack by Bomber Command. Results were excellent, and great devastation was caused by fire. Only 212 Lancasters were used in this operation, which is a good example of the increased striking power and accuracy of Bomber Command attacks at this time. On March 19, the viaduct at Arnsberg was attacked by Lancaster's Bomber Command, using 6 22,000-pound bombs. This viaduct was one of the 3 main ways of escape out of the Ruhr left to the Germans, and so the attack was clearly related to that carried out on March 14 at Bielefeld. Reconnaissance pictures taken after the attack show that 2 spans of this viaduct were smashed, and a direct hit was scored on the mouth of the tunnel into which the railway runs at one end. On April 7, 15 Lancasters Bomber Command attacked a ship at Imoiden, which the Germans were preparing to sink in order to block the approaches to the port. 12,000-pound bombs were used, and the attack was completely successful. On April 9, 2 attacks on Hamburg were carried out simultaneously by Bomber Command, one on the submarine pens and the second on oil installations. 5 penetrations of the submarine pens were obtained, and very severe damage was done to the oil installations. On April 18, nearly 1,000 aircraft of Bomber Command, escorted by Mustangs and Spitfires of Fighter Command, made a heavy and concentrated attack on the naval base and fortress island of Heligoland, whose guns guarded the approaches to Hamburg and Bremen. An airfield on the island of Duna, 3/4 of a mile away, was also attacked and saturated with bombs. these attacks, every gun but one was put out of action. And on the following day, a small force of 19 bombers made a further attack with 12,000 and 22,000-pound bombs, and this one gun was then effectively silenced. On April the 25th, 1945, Bomber Command carried out its last heavy attack of the war on Berchtesgaden, Hitler's retreat in Bavaria. The three targets were Hitler's chalet, the SS barracks and defense control center, and the famous Eagle's Nest. In spite of strong defenses, direct hits were observed on the chalet. Bombing was very concentrated in the whole target area, with smoke rising to 10,000 feet, and severe damage was done to all the targets.